Good afternoon and welcome to a brand new series here on Annabel's Adventures. This is series 1, episode 1 of the travel stories. The very first episode, this one is all to do with a trip to Moscow. Have you been to Moscow? If you haven't, it is a bizarre sort of place to go. I've been twice, only for 2 little short stays. And both times were when I was going on the Trans Siberian Railway, which starts from Moscow. Let's make tea, let's have a chat, and I'll tell you a couple of funny things that happened while I was in Moscow on my journey on the Trans Siberian Railway. I'm making a beautiful cup of tea, an English afternoon tea, in a very, very nice cup and saucer. I had this cup and saucer bought for me as a gift for Christmas. Are you ready? Come and join me. Oh, there you are. So, back to Moscow. We arrive in Moscow sort of mid-evening at our hotel right in the centre. So we got to this hotel, which we were staying at for 2 nights. The next day we'd got an organised walking tour. Then we'd got free time for ourselves. The next evening we had, and then the next morning, very early, we were off to the train station to go on the Trans Siberian Railway all the way through to Beijing, 10,000 miles, about 2 weeks-ish. So there we are. We really wanted to have some good food and go to bed early. So the start of the story is that we go out of the hotel. We were recommended this lovely restaurant a couple of blocks down. It's very basic, nothing fancy, quite busy. So that's always a good sign. If you're in a place that you don't know much about, look for the busy restaurant. And we went in there. I have no idea what we ate, but I'm sure it became chicken and chips or meat and chips, something along those lines. And I'm sat there sort of scanning around, looking, and look at these 2 gents sat on the opposite side of the restaurant. Now imagine a Cold War Russian thriller crime drama, and there's always seems to be 2 guys in long coats, looking stern, carrying a newspaper under their coat or under their arms. That's what these 2 guys look like. The next evening, only 2 of us went out to eat. The other 2 were too tired, and so 2 of us went off to a Ukraine restaurant. Now, I have no idea what we would have probably eaten, only for the saving grace of a picture that I've got that actually says on the back, mutton stew, so, with red cabbage. Everything we ordered seemed to come with red cabbage. Good job, I like red cabbage. Or beetroot. So we're scanning through the menu for the wine and drinks, and we fancy a good bottle of red. So I'm looking what I would imagine on the wine list, and there's huge lists like this, and I'm thinking, that's a lot of red wine to choose from. Let's choose really one that I have no idea, I didn't use Google Translate, sounded okay from what I could gather from the writing, and they've got the strengths at the side, and I thought, well, this is great. So I pointed to this one, they looked at me, they looked at my friend, and anyway, this bottle came. So we're drinking this beautiful wine, thinking, my goodness, this is strong. So we managed the whole bottle throughout eating the lamb stew, and feeling very, very drunk, to be fair. But just throughout the meal, I happened to glance across and out of the corner of my eye, you know what I'm going to say, the two guys were sat there from the previous night in their long coats with a newspaper. Now, don't tell me that's not coincidence. I did get in touch with the husband. So I told him the story and he said, don't worry at all. They're not that, they're actually there to look out for you. He said it is very unusual to have had 4 ladies of a mature age off on a jolly going to Moscow and doing that, and they would have been a little intrigued. So we never saw them again because the next day we were off on our travels, but I just found that quite fascinating that we were being watched and followed by 2 gents out of a crime thriller sort of thing. It was very exciting. So I'd taken some pictures of what we'd eaten and this bottle of wine. And I showed them to the lady at reception the next morning because she asked how did we get on, because they want to make sure what they're recommending is a place to go to. Let me show you a couple of the pictures. Here's the food, and I said we had this most gorgeous bottle of wine. I said we were so drunk, it was a good job it wasn't very far away from the hotel, as we'd have never managed to get back. And she started to laugh, and I said, why, what's so funny? And she said, you know, you've drunk a whole bottle of port. No wonder they were thinking we were hardcore drinkers from the UK. So the next morning, backpacked up, huge big backpacks, about 60 litres. I mean, seriously heavy here. We've got everything we needed for this whole trip. We'd got the walking boots on, we'd got walking trousers that you could unzip here and end up to be shorts. We've got the money belts, we've got everything. We're walking to the station. Walking towards us, it's obviously a thing over there with people in long coats. It wasn't the same guy as the previous night. It was a younger guy, sort of swaggering walk, this long coat, and you know what I immediately thought he was going to do? I thought he was going to flash us. That's the image you can imagine. Long coat, hands in pockets, swaggering, and saw us, and you could see him heading for us. There was nowhere else for us to go. We were heading to the train station. He walks towards us. He looks about like this. And I was waiting. I was ready. I rehearsed a couple of lines. And he threw out one arm. And inside the coat were watches. And then he closed that one. As quick as he closed that, this one opened. Do you want to buy a watch? Which watch? What colour watch? I've got every watch you want. What type of watch? What make of watch? Is there any watch? Look, I've got such a... He was trying to sell us watches. Didn't want a watch, really. Geordie actually got one on at the time. You'd think that would have been an obvious clue. Unfortunately, we didn't buy anything off him. I'm not really sure they were genuine Rolexes, really. But we just said thank you very much and have a lovely day and carried on walking. So disappointed. Wasn't flashing. So there you are. The very first travel stories starting in Moscow on the way to the Trans Siberian Railway. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I look forward to seeing you again, ready for episode 2 of the travel stories. Bye for now.